And instead, we ended up with the McMahons in the ring dancing with R-Truth and Carmella. Shane looked like he was enjoying himself a lot dancing with Carmella. Better her than his sister, after what he told Opie on his radio show this week. Yeah, Shane was on a radio show last week, and the host brought up a story that Bruce Pritchard told on his podcast about Vince McMahon famously wanting to do an incest angle. Now, they had wanted to do one. There many years ago, there were rumors of them wanting to do an incest angle with Paul Burchill. Remember, Paul had his sister, Katie Lee, and they were going to do an incest angle with the brother and sister, and thank God they didn't do that. But before that, even before this, Vince McMahon wanted to do an incest angle involving his own family that would have had Shane. Now, I think Stephanie was pregnant at the time, as Bruce told in this story, and Shane would have been revealed as the father of her baby, or something like, something ridiculous like this. But Vince got talked out of it by Bruce, and it never got back to Shane. Shane heard this on the radio show here, and his response was, well, my sister's hot. I don't know if I really would have minded that. Now, he was joking, of course. He said that very sarcastically. But then I see the two of them in the ring together. I literally read about this like that morning. And then I see them in the ring together on SmackDown on Tuesday, and all I could think about was that stupid incest story. And Bruce said that he even floated, or Vince rather, floated the idea that Vince himself could be the father of Stephanie's baby. That boy ain't right. And Vince once claimed that he did that infamous Playboy interview. It was back in like 99 or 2000. And I remember reading it because that's what I did. I read Playboy for the stories and the interviews. And so he did an interview with Playboy. And in that interview, he talked about how his mother had abused him sexually as a child. Now, he didn't outright say that, but it was implied. I mean, you read his answer in the article, it's obvious that's basically what he's saying. And I bring this up because you just wonder, when you hear about things like this, you wonder how much of that factors into these wild ideas that he comes up with sometimes, and how much of it maybe has nothing to do with that at all, and it's just a matter of, him being a 12-year-old in a 70-year-old body. Because you do have people who live a perfectly normal, healthy childhood who grow up to be absolute raving psychos. But you would think, like, if that really did happen to him as a child, and he tells a lot of other stories, too, about, his stepdad and wishing that he could kill him because he was abusive to his mom. I mean, and abusive to him as well. Like, if you believe these stories that he tells, and it can sometimes be hard to parse what's fact and fiction. Same thing with Hulk Hogan. But I can believe that he went through some shit as a kid, and you just have to wonder, how much of that. Just think of some of the worst shit that he's done on television, right? Whether it's the way that he would bully Jim Ross, making Trish Stratus bark like a dog, making grown men literally get on their knees and kiss his ass, incest angles. How much of that stems from this guy's childhood? That's why I think like a real book and a real movie on the life of Vince McMahon could be fascinating if I had any faith at all that he was being 100% honest and open and truthful in the stories that he tells. I don't think we could ever fully trust that he would be telling the truth. He's, the guy's a showman. He's a promoter. He's a showman. He tells stories. That's what he does. But we do have a book and a movie in development right now. There's actually a movie. That's that Pandemonium movie. I don't know if it's been cast yet, but the script is out there. It's a movie about the life of Vince McMahon. Now, the initial script that leaked, if you remember, many, many, many months ago, had a lot of embellished stories and just outlandish stories that weren't true, and hopefully they can clean that up and make it a little more realistic. I understand it's a movie, it's not a documentary, and so you have to have creative license to embellish, but there is a movie that is soon going to be in development about this guy's life. There's a book about the rise of WWE, where the writers are going to be shadowing and following Vince McMahon for part of it and asking him all sorts of questions, and supposedly Vince is open to them asking whatever they want to ask. So who knows? We may yet find out some things about this guy that we didn't know before. I'll bet there's a lot of dark stuff that we don't know about.